All right, welcome back, dude. Let's freaking go. What another beautiful opportunity. Like, dude, the fact that you wake up when we do, it's just like, that is one of the biggest blessings that we can experience as human beings, and it's so cool. So stinking cool. You know, it's cool to care about yourself. It's cool to care about building a healthy relationship with yourself because you spend the most amount of time with yourself. Understand that and never forget it. All right, and I understand that life can be very hard sometimes, and we're gonna go through a lot of crappy things. Whether that's getting our heart broken or not getting the things that, you know, we quote unquote want or need, but sometimes God needs to remove those things or certain people from our lives in order for us to obtain better things and things that God wants us to have, that He feels us, that He is calling us to be a servant in that area, wherever it may be, whomever it may be able to experience that from you. With that being said, it is life lesson number 6, which is actually pretty crazy. 6 weeks of doing these videos, and it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. And, you know, it's not necessarily about the followers. It's not about the views. It's about just putting out a good message. And sometimes you can't focus on the outcome. You can only focus on the process and the progress that you make along the way, because that is more important. But life lesson number 6, what I want it to be is that you are in control for the things that happen in your life. Now, yes, that can be very taken out of context and mean a different thing, right? Understand that there are going to be a lot of uncontrollables in your life. Some things you just can't control. And doing these 4 things can actually allow you to grow into a better individual that you need to be for yourself, and that God is creating you to be for other people that need to experience and have a relationship with you. Number 1, you need to fix and control your attitude, right? Before in college, I used to have such a negative mindset, and it wasn't always negative. Like, there were spurts of being positive and being happy, and it's just like, oh, like, that's super cool, that's super unique. But it's just like, you know, constantly complaining about like certain situations or doing certain drills or doing certain pieces of homework, whatever it may be. It's just like, why do I have to do this? But it's just like, dude, you know how cool it is that you get to wake up when you do, and you get to experience things that people pray for. You know, it's just like we often get so overlooked at like the small things that we can't even appreciate or value them for what they actually are. Number 2 is that you need to show up for yourself each and every single day. Okay? Oftentimes we go through life and, you know, we expect things to be handed to us, or that we want to be in perfect control, and, you know, we expect all the great things to happen to us just because we are the individuals that we are. But the reality is, you need to show up and you need to earn that for yourself. Nothing is, you know, going to be promised to you. And I've said it before in multiple videos, and I'm going to keep on saying that people went to sleep last night with the expectation of waking up for today, but today never came for them. That's why it's extremely important that you need to show up for yourself each and every single day when you have the opportunity of waking up and giving it your all. You know, pour into yourself, invest time into yourself, because building that pattern, building that foundation where you can be unbroken, you know, despite all the hardships that you're going to face, is absolutely amazing. All right, don't forget that. Don't get that twisted. The third thing that I want you guys to understand when it comes to this topic is that you need to care about yourself by doing the hard things now. And what I truly mean by this is take time to heal. Take time to remove yourself from things of the world. You know, worldly things and worldly possessions, worldly relationships, they serve no meaning. They feel great in the moment. I promise you, they feel great. They feel amazing. You feel like you're on top of the world until you realize, a couple months go by, you realize how drained you actually are, and that you are so distant from your relationship with God that you can't even recognize the individual that you are, or the individual that you look in the mirror. And that is something that is so like not a lot of people talk about, because it's just like, oh, you know, if I'm hanging out with this girl and it's just like, oh, things are great, you know, we're hanging out, you know, and, you know, we start to kiss and we start to do things, and it leads to, you know, doing other things, right? And that's the thing where it's just like, that leads into temptation. That leads into the video that I talked about before. But it's like, you need to put yourself in an environment where you can succeed. Set yourself up for success, because it matters. You know, the things that you do today are going to influence and impact tomorrow and the future life that you are trying to build currently. The fourth and last thing that I really want you to understand, like really, is that you are nothing without God. Like truly nothing. I cannot be standing here today without my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I want you guys to understand that, because he has so much power and he has so much control, more than we can even fathom at times, right? You need to remain humble. You need to be childlike, have childlike faith. There's a reason why, you know, adults are so hardened and stuck in their ways, because they don't know what it's like other than living in their own ideology, their own understanding. You need to run away from that concept and that ideology. You do not know anything if it wasn't for God creating the earth and God creating everything around us, right? Yes, I understand that the world is very evil right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Satan isn't among us and that he's doing these horrible things to try to pry people away from their relationship with God. There's a reason where I want to say it's from the movie God's Not Dead, where it was a grandmother talking with the son, or the mom talking with the son, talking about that the devil doesn't go after the people who are already sinning because they are already under his control. The devil doesn't go after the people that are already sinning because they are already under his control. I want you to understand that. That is powerful, right? The fact that you have so much power and that you aren't willing to be consumed or controlled by the devil or the enemy, that they are trying to constantly test you because of how much power that is within you, and that God is protecting you. Like, that is so cool. I want you to understand that. But man, oh man, whatever it is that you are going through currently, I want you to understand one thing. You need to show up for yourself each and every single day. You need to have a positive attitude, and you need to just invest time with yourself. Invest time with building that strong foundation with a relationship with God, because I promise that it really does matter. And I promise that you are going to make a big difference in this world if you continue down the path that not many people are going on. Choose to do the hard things now, because I promise you will thank yourself later. Be cool, be kind. Peace out.